Welcome back to Micah's Weather Channel. What is storm surge? Storm surge is the natural event when water is pushed up into the shore and it has nowhere to go. It happens during a hurricane or tropical cyclone, and most people think the damage from a hurricane is mostly from the wind, but there's some damage from the wind, but it's actually mostly from the water. The water is so powerful and so strong. Just when it comes, it just bulldozes everything. So what are the factors for storm surge? So some of the factors for storm surge, at least one of the factors, is the wind is circulating around the eye. It's circulating around the eye and it's kind of pulling up inside the eye, creating like a little bit of storm surge when it's out in the deep ocean. But once it comes in more towards the shore and reaches shallower water, it has nowhere to go. And so it can only go up. And so once it reaches the shore, it has to go into the shore and it's a bigger wave than it is out in the ocean. So let's dive more into how the geography of the ocean affects it. Geography of the ocean floor and the where it hits and how it hits on the shoreline really affects the storm surge so much, because if the storm is moving parallel up the shoreline, then the eye and the big wave in front isn't going to go over the shoreline. It's just going to be more of a gradual effect, like spilling over. But if it comes perpendicular into the shoreline, the big wave is just going to wash over and just like a bulldozer, just bulldoze it all over. Another interesting thing is in Mississippi and Louisiana, the shoreline slopes up very slowly. And so that's why the storm surge is so bad, because it has more time to accumulate and have a bigger wave inside. But the storm surge on eastern Florida is much worse because it's more of a shelf and it doesn't have as much time to accumulate and have a bigger wave. So, what are the other factors for storm surge? There's three major ones. The first one is tides. Right now, the tide is about a 1, which means the average tide is a 0. And so it's about 1 foot higher than the average low tide. So let's say we had 8 feet of storm surge right now, we'd be at a 9. And that would be covering the dock right now. And it would probably provide some damage to us, which would not be good. But let's say the tide is a 7 right now, which means a pretty high tide, and that's what we had during Idalia, and the water was so close to coming over the dock, but it wasn't. It was a couple inches away, which means we probably had about 1 to 2 feet of storm surge then. And so that is one of the factors, which is pretty interesting. The next factor, which is actually pretty big, is what happened in Idalia to us, is the wind blowing from offshore into the harbor or into the river or wherever you are, the beach, whatever. It's pushing all that water in, and all those waves are just coming in and bringing loads and loads of water in. The third other factor is the freshwater input. Let's say a couple days before this hurricane, a big rain event came and dumped 3 inches of rain, and it kind of heightened the river levels and the ground was super saturated. And then this monster hurricane comes in, dumps 5 inches of rain, brings in storm surge, and so the water levels are even higher and the water can't even soak in. And during Katrina, which is one of the worst hurricanes for storm surge ever to be, is they had 27.8 feet of storm surge, which is insane. And you're probably thinking, wow, this must have been a monster Cat 5 hurricane. It was only a Cat 3 hurricane. It cost over $195 billion of damage. And the reason it was so bad was because the wind field in this storm was just so big. There was so much rain, and this wind field was just pushing water in, and the eye was just sucking it up and just pushing, pushing this massive wave of water in. It was one of the worst hurricanes to ever be. Thanks for watching this video on Micah's Weather channel. Stay tuned for more content and videos as I am having lots of fun producing these videos. Thanks for watching.